Hey everybody, we are back to look at another Linode one-click. This is where we look at software that might be a little bit annoying to install, but you can try out on Linode with just one click. Wazuh, I think that's how you pronounce it, W-A-Z-U-H, Wazuh, I'm not sure, but this is a monitoring software. Instead of monitoring your network, what it does is it monitors individual devices, and it's cross-platform. If you head over to their client download page, you can see all the different platforms that you can monitor: mobile, Linux, Windows, whatever. And if you run this on Linode, you've got something in the cloud that you can attach any device to, and it's going to tell you all kinds of interesting things about it out of the box. It's going to do compliance checks. It's going to monitor security. It's going to check your updates and stuff like that. But even better than that, there's a robust rule system that you can build yourself. So any piece of software that generates a log file, you can add to your monitoring. So this is a very powerful tool for keeping track of all the different machines that you have to take care of all in one place. Linode describes it as infrastructure monitoring solution to detect threats, intrusion attempts, unauthorized user actions, and provides security analytics. And certainly sounds like something we all need in these dark times. So let's set it up. And it is very easy to set up. We must provide an email address. And that's pretty much it. We do have some advanced options. I won't be using any of them. As usual, this is just a preview to check this out. I won't be using this in production. So if you use this for real, make sure you explore these options. Limited sudo user, not going to worry about that. Disable root access over SSH. Now this is one of those really sensitive installations. If you're going to use it for real, it's going to have not only things about itself, but things about a lot of other computers. So you might want to consider that. Domains and API tokens. I'm going to be using the reverse proxy domain, which is a handy little thing that Linode gives you. So we don't need a domain here. And we'll set the region to Atlanta. In terms of CPU for this one, this does use a little bit more power than usual. So I'm going to go with at least a dedicated 8 gig for this one. You can label it if you want and set the old root password. And we are good to go. We'll set this up and we'll give it quite a while to provision. Remember that these larger installations, you don't want to even touch them with SSH until they've had a long time to run through the entire installation script. While you wait on your Linode to provision, and like I said before, you do need to give it, I would say give it 10 to 15 minutes to finish the Wazuh installation before you log in. We need an agent. Wazuh is the monitor, but we need something to feed it information. Now it is possible for Wazuh to monitor itself. You can install an agent on the same system and have it report. But in this case, I'm not going to do that. To get the agent, it is platform dependent. So the best thing to do is to go over to the agent page at wazuh.com or documentation.wazuh.com. And here you can see we have a wide variety of them and installation instructions for all of your various package managers here in Linux. I'm actually going to do a Windows installer, and you still get some GUI installation instructions, which is nice, and command line, but there's also a Windows installer, and I'm going to go that route. Installing the Windows installer is pretty straightforward. Just like installing other Windows programs, we won't go through that. There isn't really much to the Wazuh agent. You really only need to give it the IP address of your Linode, which you can get from the network page. The authentication key I didn't change. I left it default, and it seemed to work fine. So once you get that going, it will actually just run happily, and you'll get a status message here. Just keep in mind that this does run pretty silently. So if you forget about it, it could be feeding things to your Wazuh when you don't want it to. Just keep an eye on that. Now that I got my agent running and everything is set up, I want to go ahead and check out the GUI. And Wazuh uses Elasticsearch as the front end. So in order to get that on my installation, I've not set up a domain for this thing. And I can't access it directly through the IP. What I need to do is use the reverse DNS that is provided by Linode. So we head over to the network tab on your Linode and come down here to the address information, and you will have this reverse DNS address. This will allow you to visit the website as if you'd used a domain. And here we are. I'm actually already logged in here. The default login is username admin and password admin. Obviously, that is not very secure. And Elasticsearch is one of those things that is constantly hacked. If you look at all the news stories about leaked data, stuff like that, you'll see Elasticsearch over and over and over. People will launch Elasticsearch and it will be misconfigured and it will be immediately taken advantage of. Which leads us to one of the little quirks of this installation. It's going to tell you to reset your admin password immediately. Even some of the documentation will mention this, but actually failed to reset the password because admin is set to read only. So there's some special security here because Elasticsearch, I assume, because Elasticsearch is so commonly taken over and so commonly used that this is sort of like a little bit of a backstop. Hey, you installed it, you walked away from it, it was set with admin default as the password, and someone got in. This is another layer to try and prevent them from doing something horrible, because by default, the admin is only a read-only account. So you'll have to take some extra steps to deal with that. That is not just through the GUI. So one of the first things you want to do is reset that admin password. Now the admin account being read-only might make you feel good. It's like, oh, it's a level of safety, but just keep in mind that read-only protects it from making changes to your system, but it doesn't protect you from it exfiltrating data from your system. So definitely want to do that. There is a tool for resetting this because of the way that it's locked up. You can head over to the Wazuh documentation once again, and it's going to tell you how to update passwords on the system. They actually have a tool that you want to download to do that, and it can be done in batches. It can be done using a file, and it's all, it's a pretty basic format here that you can do that in. But now we can, go ahead and log in to SSH for the first time for your Wazuh, and you will note that the folks at Linode have done us the favor of including the password tool as part of the provisioning process. So you can log in and immediately use the password tool to update your admin account and take care of that pesky security issue. Once I have an agent feeding Wazuh, now I can use a ton of these out-of-the-box monitoring systems to take a look at what's going on with that agent, as well as just browse some other general stuff about it. Now, if we take a look at all the, the big ticket items we've got here, there's a various monitoring, auditing, and so forth. But the big ones that impress me are all the regulatory compliance. This is a kind of a nightmarish thing that you have to do if you want to do various things on the internet. Do you want to store people's data? Well, every website is going to do that. You probably want to be GDPR compliant, and monitoring that can be a real pain. HIPAA, if you're going to work in the medical field, it's crazy the rules that you have to, the hoops that you have to jump through. And this is going to help monitor you for that. PCI compliance, if you take credit card payments, you are going to pay somebody for PCI compliance one way or another. And this can do it for you, which is very, very nice. So let's just take a look. Let's click on our active agents. And then we have a list here. I've only got the one. Got a nice search. Let's take a look at my desktop. And you have a nice little dashboard here, and you can say, oh, am I in compliance with all of these various things? And benchmark for Windows audit. Oh, I'm not doing too well. Ooh, I bet it's because it's not activated. And then from there, you can sort of jump directly to any of these monitoring items here. We can look at the security events. And here are the various security events that have happened to my desktop this morning. And yes, I'm shooting this at 8:22 a.m. That's the kind of dedication I'm showing. So that's very cool. And it does have a lot of this built-in stuff. And there's a lot of it. I'm not going to go through all of it. I would definitely, if you're into this kind of thing, there's a lot to explore here. And you'll probably enjoy just looking through that and seeing all the things that can be reported back. You kind of see a little bit of preview down here. Nice graphing. But that's not all of it. You can actually create your own rules here and add them in to monitor a variety of things. File integrity, logs. You can view the log output of pretty much any program and parse it and look at different pieces of it. And the system for that is pretty robust. It's pretty impressive. We're going to take just the briefest look at it. It's very involved, but I kind of want to show you how it works so you can get some idea of what you could do with it. One of the most impressive things about Wazuh is the custom rules and decoders. And using this, you can set up monitoring for pretty much anything. You definitely want to head over to the Wazuh documentation for this and check it out. And I sort of give you the output here of what you can expect, how you can generate logging from this thing, and they give us a little basic example here. So you have decoders, and the decoders will, for example, establish what we're looking at here. You know, we're looking at the program name example, and that's a regular expression. And then you have the rule down here, which says when we use this program, then the user has logged. And so all of that can be put together and you'll have output that you expect here. So how do you do this? Well, it's pretty complicated. There is a set of rules in var ossec rule set rules. So we can, let's head over. And look at that folder. So you can see we have a ton of rules in here. And these are all XML, just like we just looked at. And the thing about it is you can't just change these. If you change these, it's not going to do what you expect. But what you can do is you find one, you copy paste it out, you put it in local rules, and then you set it to overwrite. And this is all described there on the page. But let's just take a look at one, and let's look at one that uses regular expressions. What looks interesting here? Web rules. Let's see what the web rules look like. So I see here that the web rule is using, looks like it's looking for injection. That's a great feature, right? Yeah, here we are. MySQL or MS SQL injection attempt. So you can see here that the rule is setting up, that's looking at the URL or a portion of the URL, and it's using regular expressions to match that, gives it a description, tells it what group to put it in. And you can do this for a variety of things. You can do this for any kind of logging that is coming out of your system. So if you have a program that is going to generate logs, then you can parse those logs and react to individual lines in those logs. If you have, for example, file sets, a directory or files or something, and you want to see something changed about those files, then you can detect that. For example, you can detect Did the permissions change? Did the contents of the files change? Did the contents of the files change in such a way that this text showed up or this regular expression was matched? So you have a lot of things that you can do here. You have dynamic fields that you can define things and then do these fancy regular expressions. It's can get very complex, and you could create a system that would monitor a very, very, very specific number of things and give you some really nice output based on that. So the rule set here is something that you could take a long time learning, and if you get good at, there's going to be a ton of job opportunities for you. Finally, I want to take a quick scroll through the capabilities section because there is just so much that this thing does, and we're not going to be able to look at all of it. But I mentioned logging. Of course, any kind of application you have that generates logs, you can set it up to parse it and check it for various things. Integrity monitoring, we've seen who data, malware detection, that's kind of like a pre-built version of the file monitoring type stuff. Configuration assessment, security policies. Yeah, it just goes on and on. Agentless monitoring, I haven't even tried that. And vulnerability detection, that's a big one. So you can really, really add a lot of diagnostics to a system using Wazuh. It's pretty cool. It is open source, and it is available on the Linode one-clicks for you to try out with very little commitment and very little setup time. Just remember to update that password and set up an agent and have a go at it. This could be a fun way to, set it up, have your friends install an agent, and then horrify them with what you know about their computer and what you found out that's wrong with it. So I'm Ryan, and we'll check you out next time when we take a look at another delightful Linode one-click. So that's Wazuh. We'd encourage you to check it out for yourself on Linode. You can use our promotional credit. You get you free $100, and you can do all this for free. You can see if this is maybe a solution that will take care of some problems that you're having in terms of monitoring all the different devices that you are responsible for.